Yo, what is going on, everybody? Gabriel Santos here. And in today's video, we're going to talk about self-judgment and marijuana use, as well as like the judgment of others and marijuana use. Okay, so the context of this video, first of all, it's very relatable to my journey. I used to come from a background of, thinking weed was the devil, thinking marijuana was bad, and that it was like, a hardcore drug. And not only that, like my dad used to harp about how smoking is bad and wrong. Not necessarily marijuana, but inhaling smoke in general is bad and wrong. And I had that part of my upbringing, so I had smoking is bad in my head, and then I finally started to smoke weed and I realized that, like, oh my gosh, like, this is not the devil. This is actually awesome. Like, this helps me make friends. This helps me feel calm. And this gives me cool thoughts and makes me laugh, right? So I have these opposing beliefs. Weed is the devil. Weed is the best, right? And not only that, I had an identity growing up of like, I'm successful, I'm productive, I'm high functioning, I have a great future ahead of me. And long story short, I got to college and I found myself in conflict with many core values of mine. Okay. So, for example, I identify as a successful, productive, clear-minded individual, yet I was smoking weed every day. And so there's a conflict there. Yet I'm someone who enjoys weed and is developing this identity of like being chill and laid back and like, loose around the edges. And so I had this conflicting identity of like, okay, I'm loose, I'm chill, I'm cool, yet like I'm clear-headed, I'm productive, and I have priorities. And like I just started to, I couldn't find a way to mesh them together because I came from a history of, black and white, all or nothing, all or nothing. And so I didn't come from a culture that said marijuana is okay to do. I didn't come from a culture that said, hey, it's possible to be fully responsible with your marijuana use and fully like the best version of yourself, right? Because how many people do we know in the world that are highly successful, yet they enjoy an alcoholic beverage? Or there are some people who we know in the world that are highly successful and happy, yet they still enjoy marijuana. And there are also people in the world who are highly successful and happy and don't do any drugs at all. Okay? And so my whole point with that backstory is that it's taken time and a lot of inner work to, first of all, uncover all this stuff I'm telling you right now, and then to consciously let go of identities and beliefs that no longer serve me or align with me, and to then align with the ideas, thoughts, and beliefs that are relevant and aligned for me now. And so for practical advice for you, let's say you're someone who feels so, I had talked to a lovely person the other day about how, they used to come from using marijuana in a negative way, but nowadays they are being highly responsible in their lives and they enjoy marijuana in the morning and the evening. Nothing crazy, morning and evening. And they're still highly functioning. They're still, being a great mother, right? A great parent, and they feel good about how this is going. However, this person still feels guilty about the fact that about how she uses it, okay, that she uses it at all. And what's important to note is that this person lives in a country where marijuana is not only illegal, but the culture about marijuana is that it's bad, it's wrong, it's basically like a devilized drug, right? Hardcore drug. And so because this individual is in this culture and they grew up adopting these beliefs, that completely conflicts with their personal use and their personal beliefs, right? And so this person feels guilty because she is coming from the identity of, oh, marijuana is wrong to do. Marijuana is wrong to enjoy. Marijuana all kind of negative connotations with marijuana. And so, of course, if she's going to smoke marijuana in conflict with those beliefs, then yeah, she's going to feel guilty. Whereas if she's coming from a place and belief of like, A, it's okay to enjoy and like marijuana, and B, my marijuana use does not define me, right? Like there's so many things we can put our hats on as an individual. I'm a great mother. I wake up early. I drink the water I need to drink every day. I give myself the gift of pleasure and joy through marijuana, what have you. Yet it's those unconscious beliefs in the shadows of our subconscious that seem to drive the show when we feel guilty like that. So my advice to you, and maybe I'll just share from my experience. There's several things, but the first thing is I literally verbatim give myself permission to enjoy pleasure, enjoy marijuana, and use it responsibly at my disposal, right? And those are all things defined by me, right? What does responsibility mean to me, right? What does responsibility mean to you? Not what do you think the right answer is to that question, not what do you think, it's to you, okay? And so you get to decide. For some people, responsibility might look like, as long as I get my shit done, I don't care how much I do it, right? Another person's responsibility might be like, I want to be a clear-headed and completely sober anytime I'm around my kids, right? So then responsibility varies, guys. It varies. It can vary day to day, right? That's why at least for me, when I get too rigid, that's when things kind of fall apart sometimes, because then there's no room for flexibility. There's no room for adjustment. There's no room for tinkering. Okay, and so maybe you ask me, right? It's like, well, is it really that easy? Like, can I really just remove my guilt? So there's another aspect to this in terms of your guilt. Okay, the first thing is to really look at, like, what are you feeling guilty about? Because it could be the case that you have an internal value system that says, smoking weed first thing in the morning, like, we don't feel good about that. Maybe that's the case, or maybe you have a belief that says smoking weed in the morning is wrong. Because I do get it, guys, especially people who, it's very easy to make a lot of self-judgments around marijuana because it is a drug. It has more of a drug feel than anything else. Whereas if you are a crackhead for cookies, if the first thing you need in the morning is a coffee, and you're fiending for it, like you won't start your fucking day without a coffee, like that's really no fucking different than needing some bud in the morning to smoke to start your day. It's literally not different. And yet people will make jokes like, oh yeah, I'm a crackhead for coffee, right? But they don't actually identify as like this crackhead junkie that has deep rooted issues, that's like a nasty drug head. No, right? But even I went through those phases with marijuana where it's like, oh my God, I feel so crackheady, you can't help but when you have like a glass bong in front of you and you got lighters and you're cracking like the keef off the thing, that it's like, okay, yeah, this is not a good look for me, right? Like you just can't help but feel like, but at the end of the day, the whole purpose of this marijuana thing is to feel a certain way, right? A certain sensation, a certain experience. Granted, whereas with food, you actually need food to live, right? But when when a fucking foodie has their fucking, extra large pizza, okay, that's a little dramatic, but you have a pizza, you're putting your cheese how you want it, your sauces, consider that the keef is just the cheese that you spread on it, and consider that the bud is just a yummy pizza, and that you're just looking for a damn good time. The pizza and the weed, you're just looking for a damn good time. Right? So see if you can just give yourself permission to be normal about your marijuana use. And that can be particularly mind-blowing if you're not even mind-blowing. That can be challenging if you're someone that comes from an abusive background, because the world will say that if you've had an abusive background before, an addictive background before, responsible use is not possible, and that it's a slippery slope, and that, you know, all these things. And I'll tell you what, it takes personal you must be willing to look within, change some rules, and accept how the world will react to you. Right? Because there's going to be people, for example, that watch my videos and I say what I just said, and they're going to be like, they're going to type in the comments, this man is a fraud, this guy XYZ, bullshit, this guy, da, right? Some kind of hater criticizing stuff, right? And first of all, that person's allowed to say that, and they're allowed to have that perception of me, and I move on with my life and how I want to live it. Okay? It's when I adopt this person's mentality of me that I start to experience it. Whereas in reality, we have a lot more control over our experiences of life than we think. Right? So, I think that's it for now. That is it for now. Hopefully this video brought you some kind of value, connected some dots for you. If you got to the end of this video, just like last video, hit me up on Instagram or email me. I'll leave both in the description down below. Because in general, man, I just want to help y'all. And sometimes it's hard to feel like, you know, I'm answering everyone's questions or I'm able to address everyone's needs on the video, because it's like, I can't, you know, everyone's different. And so if you're looking for a little more personalized advice or support, I highly recommend you reach out to me. I usually respond within like 30 minutes. But yeah. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video. Create your own rules. Give yourself permission. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace.